This is the section 3.3 to 3.5 review. Number 4, calculators still are not allowed. The goal is to find dy dx, and this is an exercise of chain rule combined with product rule in B, and we have multiple composed functions all the way through. So the goal is to keep all of that chain rule stuff straight and figure out what you hit first, what you hit second, what you hit third, and remember to leave the insides unchanged. So if we look at part A here, we have a cosine on the outside, so that will be the first derivative we take, and then on the inside we have power rules, a polynomial, so that will be the second derivative we take. Derivative of cosine is a negative sign of its inside unchanged. Now we multiply by the derivative of the inside. Simplify, we end up with a negative 2x times the sine of x squared minus 1. For part B, again, we need to look at what we're going to do first. So if we look at B, the first thing that I see is that I have a product rule. So I will have the first one times the derivative of the second plus the second one times the derivative of the first. Well, derivative of the first, that one's pretty simple. I can just put a 2. Derivative of the second is going to require the chain rule. So I can see that I've got a sine here, and then I have an interior function that is a polynomial. So the derivative of the sine is the cosine with its inside unchanged, and then I multiply by the derivative of the inside. Put this together, I have a 6x cubed times a cosine of an x cubed plus 1 plus a 2 times the sine of an x cubed plus 1. And we're done with B. Last part, C. Again, we have some nested chain rule going on here. The first thing that I see is the sine. That'll be the first derivative. The second thing I see is the root, so that will be the power rule with the second derivative. And the third thing I see is the polynomial inside. So I will actually be taking 3 derivatives, and each time I take a derivative, the inside remains unchanged. So dy dx will be the derivative of sine, which is cosine of its inside unchanged, times the power rule, which is 1/2 of its inside unchanged, to the negative 1/2, times the derivative of the final inside polynomial. So if we simplify this, looks like we're going to end up with a x times a cosine of a root x squared minus 4, and on the bottom I'll have this x squared minus 4 in a square root. And we're done.